Good. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. And since we know that people are coming in with this new site address, we're going to go ahead and start with the new video, actually. And so we're going to share our screen here. And
see us there we go. So yeah, we'll actually be cutting this section anyways and putting a link into the full quality HD one. So apologize about the video, the sound. We know that kind of wasn't there, but the key for this, it's a camp show, so you guys get to ask questions.
Yeah. Now, this is our first time. Well, we did a Spanish language camp show a couple weeks ago, but we're really doing the first time with any camp shows online in this way. So we're really grateful for everyone's patience with us while we'll work how this all works so we can make this better for the future. But this is kind of we think where we're headed down the road. So thank you for helping us out. And we know the audio was poor there on the video, but you'll see the new video very, very soon. So so we're going to just talk a little bit about Crystal Lake Camps and what our programs are, and then we'll get to some questions here. So just about 5 to 10 minutes of some information from us, and then we'll open it up for questions for you all. But first of all, just a quick background with Crystal Lake Camps. So the camp was founded in 1949 and has been in operation ever since. It was run by the Alford family for the vast majority of that background and that history, but it's been operated through the nonprofit organization sort of outside the Alford family since 2001. But ever since it was founded and still to this day, the very first and foremost thing that goes on at camp is a nurturing of Christian Science. Everything we do at camp is related to Christian Science. We want the camp experience to be fundamental and helpful in nurturing the growth of Christian Science for all the campers. And so being sure that that's really at the foundation of all that we're doing facilitates that nurturing growth for all of our kids. So that is always what goes on first. So during camp, Christian Science related activities include, of course, Sunday school services, Wednesday night testimony meetings, but each morning the cabin reads the lesson together, and they'll talk about concepts and ideas out of that lesson in that given day, or answer questions and how do the topics of the lesson relate to the lives of those campers in that day. And then at the start of every activity period during the course of the day, there's a time for inspirational sharing. The staff will come prepared with some ideas for that day's activity, but the campers also certainly have the opportunity to bring ideas and share and contribute in those metaphysical inspirationals at the start of every activity. I don't know, do you guys have anything you want to add on that?
Well, in addition, we have an evening program called Vespers where we read the Sermon on the Mount, and we do that once a session. And I think it's just really helpful to expose the campers and the staff to reading the Sermon on the Mount and just gaining the insight that Miss Eddy had about it. And just, I don't know, I don't think a lot of people maybe would read it on their own, and so this is a good way to help them do so.
Yeah.
But
the only thing I would add to that is just from this past summer, one of my favorite parts about this past summer was being able to watch both the counselors and the campers just together and on their own grow in Christian Science and use it in everything they do. I mean, it was so great to see. Half of the different things that pop up, like the little knee scrapes here, or things like that, or just any issues that popped up, half of them were solved, taken care of through Christian Science before the practitioner or myself or any of the other head staff even knew about it, just through the counselors and the kids going to Christian Science first, which was just really cool to be able to see this past summer.
Yeah, empowering each of the campers and staff to use Christian Science and not wait for a practitioner or a parent or someone else to show up to do that with them is really key to the program. That each of us, we know as a child of God, has the ability to connect and work with God for healing, and so empowering the children to actually do that for themselves is really us. Great. I realized we should have introduced ourselves, but we forgot that. So I'm Nathan. I am the Senior Camp Director at Crystal Lake Camps.
I'm BJ Thompson. I'm the Camp Director at Crystal Lake Camps.
And I'm Becca DeNicholas, and I'm the Program Coordinator.
And we, plus one other person, live here at the camp. We're actually at a hotel in town because the internet is theoretically better here than what we see at camp. But we all live here at the campsite in Pennsylvania full time, just to support the camp program. So we're already getting ready for this coming summer. Anyway, so sorry for that little introductory interlude there. The next thing I want to just briefly talk about are the day-to-day programs. First of all, we have 3 sessions that are each 2 weeks long for the kids. In our first and our third sessions, we have 1-week options. So a camper could come for as short as 1 week or as many as 6 weeks during the course of the summer. And then we also have 2 family camp programs. That's new. We used to just always have 1 in the end of the summer after our third session, but we've added family camp that's also going to run concurrent with first session because we've had a lot of interest, and we've had very full family camps the last little bit, and so we're trying to augment that interest. And there's lots of families out there with 4, 5, and 6-year-olds. They're not quite old enough to come to camp on their own, but their family would love to come to camp. And so we're adding a second family camp starting this summer that will happen during first session. Then to talk about the course of the day that a camper might run in, we'll have Becca kind of share the breakdown of the day, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. So the bell rings, everyone wakes up, and you have a little bit of time to get ready and do capers, which is cleaning the cabins and the restroom facility of that cabin. And then everyone in their separate camps, so girls camp holds a flag ceremony, and then boys camp has one, and you line up by cabin and just getting ready for the day. And then, as seen in the video, each cabin does a lesson reading. And then after that, we head to breakfast. And right after breakfast is an assembly, which is another metaphysical inspiration just to get you going for the day. And then it starts your classes, and there's 2 class periods in the morning, and after those are lunch, and then 2 class periods in the afternoon, and then a 5th period, which is different every day. And that leads into dinner.
Well, we should say for 5th period.
Oh.
5th period is a time during the day. So if a camper doesn't, in their normal 4 classes, doesn't have the opportunity to go boating, for example, 5th period will have those options, so they can still get all the other activities that aren't part of their normal 4 classes during the earlier part of the day. Then after that? And
then after the 5th period is dinner, and then dinner leads into an evening program, which differs every day of the week, and then bedtime.
There we go. BJ, do you want to share about what some of the other activities are? We talked a little bit about Wednesday testimony and Vespers, but we have some other options too.
Definitely. So the evening programs are very in their scale. It can be anything from a council fire, where you saw in there a little bit of like the fire dance, and we do some silent sharing and lots of different clan games. You get split into one of the different clans. You've got the wolves, turtles, turkeys, and bears. And those are the 4 different clans we have here at camp, and you'll get split into them. Once you're in one, you're in it for life. You'll always be in that clan, and so that's always a really cool aspect about coming to camp. We have other things like Vespers, which we mentioned. We have a talent show. We have some just evening activities where just the different camps, boys and girls camp, do some activities just on their own together, and sometimes we just have cabin nights and a few different activities like that.
All right, that's the quick breakdown of the course of a given day at camp. I don't know, BJ, do you also talk about the international exposure at camp?
Definitely. So one of my favorite parts about camp is how much international culture you have here at camp. We actually have about a third of our campers come from overseas, whether that be from Mexico, England, Russia, Germany, Switzerland. So it's somewhat different every time. You'll see, if you saw in the video, there's a few different shots where you'll see the dining hall, which has a whole bunch of flags in it. And all those flags actually represent a country that we've had either a camper or a staff member come from before. And so they come to camp, and so having that diversity is a really cool aspect, just a bit above and beyond. I mean, we talk about meeting different Christian scientists and just in the U.S., but it goes beyond that, and getting to meet and just share those cultural exchanges, and of course knowing that the Christian Science aspect still comes back to the same thing, comes back to Mary Baker Eddy and Science and Health, which is really cool just to be able to talk with other people about that.
That's right. Yeah, all those kids are just like all of the kids coming from the United States. They're all going to Sunday school at a Christian Science branch church. A lot of them, because branch churches overseas aren't as plentiful as they are in the United States, they do that on Skype with the mother church, or there are places where there aren't Christian Science churches in their country, so they'll Skype in with a service in their language. So, for example, I know there are children in Cyprus that we have at camp. They Skype in with the Russian language church in St. Petersburg, Russia, because Russian is their native language, that kind of thing. So they are all Christian Scientists, though. Great. And then we've got we'll touch on family camp. I mentioned it's happening during the summer in 2 different stretches. During family camp, though, it's a great time for your family to come and enjoy the activities and the beautiful scenery and the loving and quiet atmosphere of camp. And that's a great time to bring those family members who may not be practicing Christian Science with you. You can bring, aunts and uncles and cousins or whomever it is with you. So there's always some Christian Science component to every family, but we have lots of folks there, and it's a great way to expose them to what happens at Crystal Lake camps. Sometimes we hear from families that it was really helpful for them, so that those members who aren't Christian Scientists can see what it is to live Christian Science, and that it's a really healthy, productive, active way of living, which is fantastic. But it's also a great way to, as I alluded to earlier, have those younger kids who aren't yet quite ready to come to camp. They're not old enough to come to camp on their own, but they want to know what camp is like, so that when they do turn 7 or 8 years old and they're ready to come to camp, they know what that's going to look and feel like. So we have lots of families that come under kind of with that intent to expose their younger children to camp. But family camp is a fantastic time. We have 2 activities in the morning and 2 activities in the afternoon. They're run in one big long stretch, though, so a family or a couple of people can float kind of between the activities as they need or want to do. Or you could choose just to sit on the porch and read a book, or just go on a hike on your own. Whatever it is, we have 1,000 acres, or just a little under 1,000 acres, and lots of hiking trails, about 25 miles, more than 25 miles of trails across our property for hiking, or the horses use them, or whatever you may want. If you want to get out to nature or just sit out by the lake or on the porch, whatever is there for you. But we'll really make whatever you want to do during family camp possible. If you come and you feel like there's something you really want to accomplish or do activity-wise, or some skill level in activity you want to reach, talk with us. We'd love to facilitate that with you, to let you get to that goal and make that happen. But then during the course of family camp, those evening programs during the youth sessions that BJ talked about, we just have a smattering of those, but there are still assemblies that Becca mentioned during the youth session periods. We also have assemblies every morning during family camp, and lesson reading together with families as they would like to in the mornings. Early morning activities and hikes or swims, just something a little to kind of get you up and going, kind of work backwards through the day there. But lots of good stuff for the families. But we'll cater the program as best as we can to you and to what you want to get out of your family camping time.
That actually segues very nicely into the off-season different programs we have. So during we have cleanup weekends, which will be during the spring and fall. So this is not during the summer, but you guys are still welcome to come out at these different times. And we'll have it's basically a weekend in spring and fall that we have people come out just to camp, to kind of just see what camp is. And we basically work and get different projects done at camp, and basically get it either ready for the winter or de-winterize it and get it ready for the summer, just kind of depending. And then we've got our winter camp as well, which starts a little bit after Christmas. It runs through the New Year's, which is always a great time. And then we have also our alumni homecoming, which is in the fall as well. It's a great time to come. There's some really nice, that's usually right when the trees are changing their colors and all the leaves are changing, which is a really beautiful time. And it's not just for alumni, it's for anyone. It's hosted by the alumni, which is great to be able to meet and talk with them. And of course, as soon as you've been to camp, you are an alumni. You immediately become one. But it is open to anyone, even if you just want to come see camp. It's a great time to come. But yeah, we can also mention, we actually open up to the public as well for a few different things. And I'll let Becca kind of just briefly mention about that in the spring, fall, and winter. So I'll pass it on.
So in the fall and in the spring, our property is open for groups of 8 or more to come rent out our cabins, do activities like the high ropes course or canoeing. And then in the winter, we are open for cross-country skiing. So the 20 plus miles of trails that Nathan was talking about. Those are all used for cross-country skiing, and we have some snowshoe trails as well. And so people can come from all over and come cross-country skiing and stay on our property, and it's really cozy and it's nice.
It'd also be a great time if you had a group from your home area, some family, or say your Sunday school wanted to kind of have a weekend retreat away. We'd be open to having any of those sorts of things too. So we do often get those inquiries about those possibilities. And yes, we would love to talk with you. We're here primarily for the Christian Scientists out there. We do these other things just to keep our property in use, but really we're here for the Christian Scientists. And so we'd love to hear your ideas if you think coming to camp with a group would be great. And then the last thing I want to talk briefly about, and then I think we can open it up for questions unless there's something else, is financial aid. During camp, for our youth sessions, we do have financial aid available. We have, because of the internationals, campers that come, there's a lot of aid that is a lot of money that is raised to support that program, but we do also have money available for domestic campers from the United States. And so if the cost of camp feels prohibitive, please be in touch with us. We would like to get you in touch with groups that we know of that could help facilitate underwriting those costs for you. We have our own financial aid funds that we can offer. We don't want money to be the reason that camp doesn't happen for your child. So please do be in touch with us if that seems to be an issue. We'll work together with you, setting up a monthly payment plan, and looking for other outside funds as well. So there's lots of money out there. We can help you connect with that. So that's the main thing we would like to say on that front.
And just briefly on that, both for the registration and for financial aid, they are both online. I'm going to quickly just share my screen over here so you guys can see where those are on the website. So let's see if I can get that going here.
And we're trying to share screen here.
It should be going now. So this is the website here. And if you click on summer camp, you'll get to this page. And then if you want to enroll, register, whether that be for family camp, off-season, summer camp, you name it, you click on this button here, and up pops this screen here. And you can register through here, just follow the directions, log in. Once you've logged in for one event at camp, you just use the same sign-in every single time. Going back to the website, back to the main page, for financial aid, you go to summer camp again. So you click here. And then if you go to rates and dates, it talks about the different prices we have. On that is where the financial aid is. So you just click on the financial aid application, and up pops this, which everything's online, so you don't have to worry about a paper copy. It used to be a paper. Everything's online now. You just enter the information here, just follow the instructions, and it's a lot of words, but there's a lot to it, so bear with us. Follow those instructions, and you'll be able to log everything through. All right, back to us.
Awesome. All right. So we've kind of flown through most of the main ideas related to camp. Of course, there's lots more we could talk about, but you probably have some questions. So at this point, if you have a question for us or an idea you want to share, you'll need to unmute yourself and then go ahead and share your idea or ask your question with us. So the time is now yours. We'll wait here just another minute or so to see if anybody unmutes themselves, but right now we're not seeing anyone unmute themselves. Okay. Well, we didn't get any questions, it looks like. We're looking through the chat box too to be sure that there's anything else, but we're not seeing anything. So thank you all for being a part of this tonight. We are going to, as we said earlier, we're going to edit out the video as it was there, and we'll have a link to the high-def version once that is finished later this week. And so you'll be able to see that video with audio this time, since it sounds like most of you weren't able to hear it. But you'll be able to see the video shortly. But if you do have any questions or ideas for us, please be in touch with us. We'd love to hear your ideas. We'd love to help you out and talk about the summer for you, your family, or your children. And we'd love to see you guys at camp soon. So yeah, thank you all for joining us tonight.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good night.